We all saw the punch, the open hand slap, if you will. What we all saw it against Amon St. Brown in the second quarter of the Washington Commanders game. Defensive lineman, defensive tackle, 300-plus pound Daron Payne decides to slap Amon St. Brown in the helmet. It was an open hand slap punch, if you will, and it wound up getting him ejected. So then we hear Kinlaw after the game say that Amon St. Brown punched him first and that they didn't do anything about that one. All right. Now this conversation seems to be dominating the chat, so we're going to talk about it now. And that is the fact that this is just weak to me. This is very weak. First of all, Daron Payne appealed his suspension. It was upheld, so he will miss a game. But it seems like there is a campaign to try to get Amon St. Brown suspended as well. All right. Now, I don't think he's going to be suspended. Let me put that out there. I'm going to show you why I don't think he's going to be suspended. There's a couple reasons why, but I think it's very lame. And I got to say, for the fan base to be complaining is one thing, but for Payne to be complaining is another. Brian Branch said what he had to say after the Chiefs game. He said what happened. He said he was wrong. He said why it happened, right? It was the fact that Juju Smith-Schuster was doing things that could have hurt Brian Branch. No type of, it wasn't just some friendly pushing and shoving or unfriendly pushing and shoving. It was legit blindside blocking. That's why the blindside blocks and all of those things are frowned upon. The block in the back and all of that. Defenses, the receivers, all of that, because it's about player safety. So that's what that complaint was. But Brian took it. Yes, he appealed it. Yes, he lost the appeal. But we didn't hear anything about it. This is crazy to me, though. But Daron Payne, he decides that he's going to get this footage. I don't know where he got this footage from. It must be the All-22. That he posts this on his Instagram feed. Bro, you 300-something pounds. And this is crazy to me. But here is the video of Amon St. Brown and what the first punch, alleged punch, was from St. Brown to Daron Payne. Okay, so here is St. Brown where my cursor's at. Here's Daron Payne. Now, this is after a play was over, so he didn't put any other this is the beginning of the clip. There is no other context. I think this was after a play in which St. Brown gets kind of blocked into him. They all fall down and they get up. Probably some extracurricular activities that happens probably on every play. So here's St. Brown. Here's Payne. Now it's going to play at regular speed and then it's going to be slowed down so I don't have to do it. If y'all need me. So it's kind of like a push at the helmet. A push at the helmet. You can see it right here. St. Brown, his right hand. It looks like at this point, he's trying to get maybe smack Daron Payne's hand away. So now Daron squares up, which if you know, listen, you can't square up if you square up to some dude, bro, helmet or not, you already know what you're trying to, you already know what that means. So again, here's St. Brown, that's Payne. Now here's the ref. And this is why I don't think that there's going to be a suspension in this case. If you go and you look, the entire play, the ref, his eyes are here. He already sees the scrum forming. Now, there was no flag thrown on this play. So if the NFL decides to suspend St. Brown for a missed call from the refs, that's going to be an even worse look on the NFL in a year that officiating is already being highly questioned. All right. Now, on top of that, let's let it play again. Kind of like he caught the side of the helmet, maybe the face mask, more of the face mask than the side of the helmet. We're going to let it play some more. And then there's another kind of slap. Now, you can see here, it looks like that to me, that this slap connected to the face mask. Maybe should he have been called a foul? I don't know. I don't know the rules. I don't know what you can and cannot do. I know this is not a good look for St. Brown. It's really not. You know what I'm saying? I can't say if it was right or wrong or if it was worthy of an ejection or he's probably going to get fined. He's probably going to get fined. But that's not for me to say because I can only see it from this angle too. There's no footage that I've seen. But here's the ref. So if it was egregious enough for him to be a flag thrown or suspended, you would think he would have done that. But he didn't do it. He came, a little slap. And so Payne is automatically, you too big for this, bro. You looking at the refs and you already complaining. I don't know. Again, I don't know what happened. Now here it is, slowing down. You see St. Brown. We don't know what happened in the pile. Now, I'm not trying to excuse St. Brown from this. I'm not. But these men hit each other for a living. You got to take care of it inside the whistles. But at the same time, I don't know what was happening. And I know, hey, I see a big tray. I'm leaving here with something. Like I told you, you square up to me, then that tells me one thing. Helmet or not, it tells me one thing. So then you have a little bit, he didn't make any contact with the first time. He didn't make any contact with his helmet. But this second time, and the ref is literally right there. When the contact is made, the ref is right there. Now, obviously, there was some contact, but it was probably more of a face mask thing. The ref let him play it out. They let him deal with it. But if you go to Daron Payne, it was a wind up smack to the head. And I don't have that one on. I think I might have that one saved. I could look and see. But the difference between these two things, to me, is enough. And I'm not even making excuses for St. Brown. You got to keep your hands to yourself. But the first time, it looked like it was more of an arm push away. And then the second time, he caught some of the face mask. But the ref is right there. He's right there. He can see exactly what contact was made with St. Brown. Was it worthy of a foul? You know what I'm saying? And he let it play out. He let it play out. Now, when you go to Daron Payne makes legit contact to the side of the head, and maybe that's the difference. Maybe that's the difference. When you see a foul, I don't know why I can't talk today, but when you see like a penalty, right? The helmet to helmet. Sometimes they'll call things that they'll call it, they'll replay it and say, okay, no contact was actually made to the helmet. There was a hit on CJ Stroud in last week's game. It looked like initially that the player hit his head, but CJ Stroud hit his head on the ground. It was a clean hit. So again, Amon St. Brown got to control himself. He's not free of liability, but at the same time, the ref, like I said, the ref is right there. So the ref is right there. Now it could have been, maybe it was a call that was up to the ref. Maybe this ref said, hey, this is not worthy of a flag or a suspension or an ejection. So there was no contact made. And then there, it looked like it was probably to the, and then, like I said, again, it's not for me to say, but I'm more like, yo, you 300 some pounds and you come back, you walk up to the dude, and then you have the intent behind it as well. I'm going to see, I don't know if I have the other play with St. Brown and the smack that Daron did on him. I'm going to see if I can find it, because if you look at the plays, they're completely different. And again, I don't want to act like I'm trying to say that St. Brown was innocent in this situation, but at the same time, and I don't have it. I don't have the clip, but it was completely different. Payne, after the play, you got like the heat of the moment things, just like Brian Branch. The game is over. Brian walks up to Juju Smith-Schuster and clocks him on the side of the head, right? So you have different things. You have the contact that was made. Then you have the intent behind it. You got like premeditated versus reactive. And I'm not saying that it's right in any way, but I'm like, yo, you too big for this. Daron Payne, and I think highly of Daron as a defensive tackle, but this, bro, this is weak to me. This is weak. Take your suspension like a man and keep pushing. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think from that angle that St. Brown should have been either flagged or ejected, or do you think that it was valid? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments.